in both aspects, we see that there are some things which can be put, like Vedas say that, that cow dung is very, very pure, right? And now even science is believing in that, like Vedas say that trees have life. So that can be, proven. But there are some things in Vedas which can't be proven. So in both the things, there are some things which can be measurable and other things which can't be measurable, right? Now we see there are some things which we can see, and there are some things which we see but we don't. Some example, there are some things which we see but we don't believe. Yes, Vashli? Just like we see that you put a pencil in a jar of water. What happens? Pencil seems to be broken. But is it broken? Why it seems to be broken? Because of law of refraction. But it is not broken. So we see it is broken, but it is not broken. So similarly you see the sun. Sun is like a coin. But is it a coin? No. So there are things we see but we don't believe. And there are things that we don't see but we believe. How many of you believe in electrons? There are electrons, right? Have you seen electrons? Can you go to an engineer and ask, please give me one electron? No one can show you. But we see that there is a cathode ray tube, right? And in that we can feel the electrons, that electrons are present. So this is called inferential logic, that we are not able to see something, but by the effect we understand that thing is present, just like in your body. You can understand very easily that the soul is present inside the body, because when someone dies, the body, every chemical is as it is, pura chemical as it is रहता है, but the body is not moving. That same body that could have created such big buildings, such big cars, so much invention, so much things, but now it's dead matter, it cannot do anything. So from this we very easily understand that inside the body what is there? What is there? Yes. Just give an example, like some snake comes. If snake comes here, then most of the boys will run away, right? But if the snake comes, how many of you think this laptop will also run away? Will the laptop run away? No, it won't have life. We have life, we will run away. So that's the point, is that we don't see some things in science, but we believe in them. Right? Just like electrons, protons. Similarly, in Vedas also, there are some things which we are not able to see, but we believe. Right? Now, moving ahead. Now, what is reasonable faith? Right? What is reasonable? This is our session for today. What is reasonable faith? That just like we go to a doctor. We go to a doctor, and which doctor will you go to? Before going to any doctor, what will you do? You ask some of your neighbors or friends or relatives, अरे मेरे को I have this disease, ये लूटेगा नहीं ना, ये ठीक ठाक डॉक्टर है ना, ये ऐसा मतलब कह रहे हैं चालू डॉक्टर तो नहीं है ना, खाली पैसा लेगा कुछ करेगा नहीं, ऐसा तो नहीं है ना. We authorize the doctor from some relative friends, and also what we do, we check his degrees, है ना, कुछ पढ़ा लिखा है या फालतू का ऐसे बना लिया उसने कुछ डिग्री, right? So we see, so we do two things, है ना. We get some authorization and we get some recommendation. We get some recommendation from someone and we get authorization. So this is reasonable faith. Reasonable faith means that anything that you can get authorization and recommendation. किसी भी चीज को आप reasonable faith कह सकते हो, because you are putting faith in the doctor, right? But based on what? किस चीज पर निर्भर होकर आप उस पर faith रख रहे हो डॉक्टर को? क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोगों ने कहा है और उसकी डिग्रियां भी कह रही, पर फिर भी वो नकली हो सकता है नहीं. So point is that we put our faith in so many things. Now you are sitting here, you have faith this ceiling will not fall, right? That's why you are sitting, right or wrong? If you don't have faith, why will you sit? That airplane crashed in that building. Which building was there? Which airplane crashed? 2008 or something? Twin Towers. So when that happened, many people thought, we will not, sit in planes, it's very, very dangerous. But after 2-3 years, again, people started, going in planes. So they have faith that I'm going in this plane, it will not crash me, right? So we put faith in so many things, right? So that is the point, that the faith can be reasonable when it is authorized by someone and recommended by someone. Now let us move ahead. We'll read this. All of you are able to see this?
Yes.
Everyone last? In the material concept of life, from a top executive manager to a coolie in the street, everyone is running, busily asking, where is my job and food? Where is my accommodation? Where is my partner? How can I compete and survive? How can I increase my comforts, prolong and enjoy life? Everybody is looking for a peaceful life of comfort and luxury. So we see everyone. हर कोई जो भी कर रहा है किस लिए कर रहा है? खुशी के लिए, right? Everyone, like now you all are in the college, you are studying, you want job, right? After job, what you want? You want a good house, you want a good wife, you want happiness. Ultimately, you want happiness, right? Everyone is looking for happiness. And if you see, if you ask someone that if you can relax and just get money, will anyone work? आपको क्या लगता है? How many of you think if you get just money without working, will you work? Yes or no? Because everyone wants to be happy and relaxed. No one wants to work hard. But what happens is everybody is looking for a peaceful life of comfort and luxury, enough money in pocket and no need to slog. People also want a life free from diseases, dangers, old age, death, accidents, quarrels, etc. But it is a well-known fact that the world we live in brings all these unwanted experiences. People think, why should I suffer? Why is this world created? So the point is that although we don't want sufferings, but the sufferings comes. No one wanted corona. Corona came पहले नाक में, गले में, lungs में, पूरा everyone, no one wants. कितना भी कोशिश करो, दवाई लो, मास्क लगाओ, बाहर मत निकलो, घर में रहो, steam लो, but still no one wants to get old. Still these things come. So the human life begins Atato Brahma Jigyasa. The human life begins when we start inquiring about these questions. Why am I suffering? Who is God? What is the purpose of life? Mahabharat says, Ahar Nidra Bhaya Maithuram Cha Samanya Metat Pashubhir Naranam Dharmo hi Tesham Adhiko Visheshu. Dharma means that you start inquiring what is the purpose of life, what is the goal of life, why am I suffering? How can I become really happy? Really happy. Happy person means सब कुछ है तो भी happy है, सब कुछ नहीं है तो भी. He is beyond this world. He is like in an airplane. वो airplane में when you go in airplane, what is the size of buildings? Buildings कैसा दिखता है? Huh? It seems like small matchbox. So that we have to become like that. We are in an airplane. Anything happening in this world, it's like very small for us. Nothing matters. We are like enjoying, नाच रहे, गा रहे, मजा कर रहे. So that should be the real happiness, and that is possible when we start, inquiring about dharma. So we'll move forward. So now let us consider the study. Let us consider the hypothetical case of an Aboriginal man landing in New York City. So there is a person. Aboriginal man means he lives in, क्या बोलते हैं उसको हिंदी में, आदिवासी, right? He lives in jungles, है ना? And one day he came to Calcutta, to your university. What is the university name? Netaji Subhash Chandra Engineering College. He came there. He saw so many buildings, so many rooms, everything, and he said, "There are so many mountains I have seen. These buildings I have seen. Oh, this building seems to be automatically they are there for a long time. They are there. These buildings are there for thousands of years, millions of years." He is saying like that. How many of you think he is right? Yes? How many of you think he is right? Are the buildings for thousands or millions of years? He is thinking like that because he has that experience. In the jungle, he has never seen construction. In the jungle, he sees trees are there, mountains are there, birds are there, animals are there. So he is saying like that. Now, another man comes. He is a European man. He lives in Europe, and he is a Calcutta boy. From Calcutta, he is a person. He comes, and when he comes, he says what he will say about your college. Will he say the same thing? He will say, "Arey, someone has come. Someone must have constructed. There must be some civil engineer. There must be so many men and coming together. They must have constructed this." So on first examining the huge complex skyscraper buildings, broad roads, shopping malls, high-speed vehicles, communication systems, traffic control systems, the Aboriginal man will naturally marvel at how it can come to be, but he will hardly be able to answer this question through direct sensory perception. He may well believe that such a place has always been there, like some mountain range, or he may simply become bewildered. On the other hand, a European man landing in New York on a first visit will have no difficulty in understanding that the city was constructed over several hundred years by countless architectures. So all of you know how America was discovered. Who discovered America? Columbus, right? So America was discovered by Columbus. There was a barren land, and gradually, by the work of so many people, America came gradually. It became world's number one country in one sense, in material sense. So it became. Now this Aboriginal man is saying this, it came automatically. It is like like mountains. So that what Aboriginal man is saying, this is called unreasonable faith. It is called imagination. But what European man is saying that these buildings has been manufactured and made by so many people over thousands of years. Has the European man seen the architectures or the civil engineers making these buildings? How many of you think? What do you say? Have we seen? But why? How he is saying that these are being made by someone? Yes? Okay. What is your name? Okay, Somesh is saying he has that knowledge. So we can clap for Somesh, right? He knows, that he has that basic knowledge. अरे हम सब कुछ देखते हैं दुनिया में कुछ भी अभी मेरे को इस चेयर को भी हमको प्रोजेक्टर सेट करना था, right? We have to set the projector. Can the projector set automatically? So many engineers and are trying to set it. It's very difficult, right? So to make such a big America, it can't. So this is reasonable faith. What is reasonable faith? To understand from the logic, from the logical point of view, not imagining something, right? The Aboriginal man is imagining that just like mountains, these buildings have come automatically. So that is called unreasonable faith or foolishness in one sense. So although our culture visitor did not see the city being constructed and has not met any of the architects or craftsmen involved, his belief will be entirely reasonable, but he will have to admit that, strictly speaking, it is a type of faith, an entirely reasonable faith. The conclusion of the Aborigine, however, must be termed unreasonable faith. We may be safe in having reasonable faith, such as the faith that New York City has been built by intelligent craftsmen, but we must be careful not to have unreasonable faiths based only on superstitions like Aboriginal men. So his faith is reasonable, right? Now we will see a short video. I don't know. See this video carefully. I cannot believe my eyes. Are you able to see? So this is human body, and you can see that inside there are machines. It's shown that how human body is like machine. So here you can see that so many chemicals, everything is happening so systematically. So many men are involved in this, right? It's shown scientific way how it's a very very complex machine, very very complex, very very complex machine. So now if someone says that this body has come automatically, it's very very difficult. It's unreasonable to say that. It will be reasonable to say that this machine must be manufactured, must be designed by someone, right? It will be reasonable because we see any simple thing if you want to make, it needs a lot of brain, lot of efforts. Now to make such a complex machine, how it can come automatically, or how it can be and this machine is so wonderful, so many wonderful things it does, so many nice things, right? So I'll move forward. Okay. So now, if we see how many of you have studied about that in 12th, you study about cells, the structure of a cell, DNA, all these things. Okay. So in that we study, right? The cell is the most complex structure, right? Do you know that the structure of the cell is more complex than the traffic and the structure of whole New York City? If you search in Google the structure of a cell, how complex it is, you will be bewildered. How wonderfully the cell must be designed. And so thus a very small cell inside this body is so complex. Then how much complex the body must be, right? So to say that this body has come, it will be very unreasonable. It will be very very reasonable. Someone will say, okay, you are a you seems to be a तुम्हारा लगता है थोड़ा बुद्धि है तुम्हारे पास. If you say that this body is designed by someone, right? So now if we see, can dead things come automatically? How many of you know what is the process of rains? How rains comes from the ocean? Yes, someone can tell? Yes. Tell?
As the water vapor, as the water is vapor from the sea.
Okay, first the water from the ocean is evaporated by who? Sun. By sunlight, right? Water comes. And then clouds. Clouds.
Then the
And
cloud condense.
yes.
And makes drop of water.
Yes. Then the wind pushes the clouds, and the pressure, volume, and temperature changes, and then the clouds pours rains. Now clouds are dead. Sun is dead. After that, wind is dead, and the ocean is dead. Now all these dead things together, how they are able to do such nice things? If you want, I want this glass of water to come here, can it come automatically? Someone either has to go or someone has to, take the glass, open the tap, water will come, and he has to close also. अगर बंद नहीं किया तो पानी गिर जाएगा, right? He has to close the tap, then he has to bring the water here, and then it will be done, right? How many of you think for millions of years also, if I keep on saying that water come here, can it come? No. There must be some person who has to do that, right? Similarly, for doing these rains, there must be some person. There must be some supreme being which we are not able to see, who has made such a nice process, that such nice rains come. Just think, if the rains would have come, like, big jumbo, gallons of water together, what will happen? क्या होता अगर बहुत सारा पानी एक साथ आ जाता? Flood will come. But God is so intelligent. Supreme Being is so intelligent. He has given small droplets. And in small droplets, gallons of waters come, but there is no harm to anyone, and gallons of water comes. Such intelligence, right? So this shows that this faith is very reasonable. It will be very reasonable to say, that there is a supreme being behind these things, right? Behind these things. Now, we see that there are automatic doors in airport, right? In airport, if a child goes near the automatic doors will open. If you ask the child, कैसे हुआ? मैं गया तो हुआ. मैं गया मैं हुआ है ना. I go near the gate and the door opens. No, actually this is called बाल बुद्धि. ये बच्चों का बुद्धि है. ये मतलब कहते हैं बाल बुद्धि है ना. If you go, it will also open, but you will say, "Arey, there are sensors. You all are engineers, you know. Someone has put sensors there. You go near, the sensor detects it, and the gate opens. And someone has made that whole setup, sub machine, right? Now, someone considering that the gate is opening automatically is very, very unreasonable. That is not reasonable. That is bala buddhi. Similarly, if you get promotions, you get promotions automatically? No. You have to work hard. Someone has to give you promotions. Someone has to give you job. You can't get anything automatically. Any machine cannot work automatically, right? Okay. Now, if we see nothing happens automatically, then we see that so many wonderful things. Now you went to this, you roam in this place, this, what we say, in the fields, you saw so beautiful, mustard plants, and you saw a sun, and you saw, cows. So beautiful creation is there. How can we say that it is coming automatically? There must be some miraculous person who is doing this miraculous things, and that will be very, very reasonable to say this, that someone is miraculously doing this thing. Just like by seeing the cathode ray tube, you can say there are electrons. Similarly, just by seeing these things, just know. Now sitting here, just turn your face, पीछे मुड़ के देखिए. How many of you can see the sun? No one can see, I think. No one can see the sun. Can anyone see the sun? But how many of you believe that sun is there? Just by seeing the sunlight, you can say sun is there. Similarly, once I was going near this kitchen. Here, you saw kitchen is there. So once I was going almost, around 200 meters away from the kitchen, and I was able to feel the heat of the kitchen. As soon as I felt the heat, I was thinking, "अरे कहाँ से आ रहा है? क्या हो रहा है? क्या हो रहा है?" Then I understood, oh, kitchen is near. Although I am not able to see the kitchen, but just by feeling the heat of the kitchen, I understood kitchen is there. So that is called reasonable faith. That is called inferential logic. That will be very, very reasonable to say, things based on, experience, based on authorization, and based on recommendation. Okay. Now we will have a small activity, so all of you can, participate in that. Okay. So meanwhile it goes on, we'll discuss other things. So it has been a great research of the doctors that where is the pain? Is the pain, someone says, when you are hitting a nail, say you are hitting a nail, and while hitting the nail you hit your hand or finger or thumb. Now the doctor says, when that happens, there is some secretion of chemicals, and that signals goes into the brain, and in the brain there are waves, and some waves goes up, similar, suddenly that happens like that. So, but where the pain is getting, who is getting the pain? Doctors are not able to identify still. Who is getting the pain? Now we can very easily understand. The pain is felt by a person who is different from this body, right? The pain and pleasures are being felt by a person who is different from this body, right? Just one second. So, yes. Now we will do a small another case study also. Now let us suppose further that upon landing at John F. Kennedy Airport, our European meets a wild-eyed man who hands him a book called Propounding the Doctrine that New York City was not constructed in any of the aforementioned ways. Rather, someone 100 years ago, there was an explosion in the Hudson Bay region, and after the smoke cleared, the entire city, complete with skyscrapers, subways, and telephone system, was standing in place. Someone met, some European, he is telling that, there was a big explosion in some place, and a big city came automatically. Although by direct sensory perception the European will not be able to prove this doctrine false, since he has not personally observed the construction of the city, nonetheless he will conclude the young wild-eyed man is silly or mad. Now from scientific observation we learn that the physical structure of a living cell is more complex than the entire structure of New York, and that the human body has more than 30 trillion of these cells. So a wild-eyed man was there. He is saying that in Hudson Bay region there is the explosion and the city came very nicely. How many of you think some explosion will be there and the city comes very wonderfully? अगर मान लीजिए घर में sometimes in home we see sometimes when cooking happens sometimes पकोड़ा तलते something वो उछल जाता है the oil little that happens. What happens that oil falls on someone's leg or hand, he shouts, and it causes pain. That small explosion in that oil you're frying causes such pain. If there is a big explosion, how much pain will be there, right? But that person, wild-eyed man, what he is saying, if there is explosion, what will happen? A big city will come with nice skyscraper buildings, where there will be very nice Netaji Subhash Chandra College. So that will come if there is explosion. So that he is saying, right? So we will consider him silly or mad, right? Because that is impossible. Furthermore, the human body works smoothly and with amazing precision. Even more amazing, these complex cells have the ability to regenerate themselves, a concept that the city's planning commissioners could not even begin to conceive of. आपने देखा है कोई सिटी ऐसी है जहाँ there is a bridge, this highways, sorry, not bridge, highways. There is a highway. अगर वो highway टूट जाए, automatically highway बन जाए. Regeneration. After few days, there is a new highway. Oh, magic! But in our body, the cells die and the cells begin. Automatically they come, right? Such a wonderful, system is created by the Supreme Being. Now, after reading all this, we will read this first. Now, if we were to conclude that the human body has also been planned and constructed by some highly intelligent person, then it is called reasonable faith. But the atheistic theory that the human body and the universe we live in arose from a chance by some tremendous explosion, these people can only be compared to the wild-eyed fanatic claiming that New York City came from an explosion in Hudson Bay. It is nothing short of insanity. We can have reasonable faith that this universe and its contents, including ourselves, are the creation of an eminently intelligent, powerful and expert supreme being. So now pay attention, you can do this activity. So we have to match from in the left side, there are the names of different things are given and you have to match with the right side. And one thing can match with multiples also, right? Let us see who do it first. Wild-eyed man, please match. A, B, C, D, which will be the option, which will be suiting the best? Wild-eyed man. Wild-eyed man is the man who is saying that there was an explosion and a big city came. Yes, fastly. I. Okay, what is I? Did not see city being constructed, did not meet architects or craftsmen. Still, he is reasonable in faith. Yes, wonderful. Okay. I is correct. And A is also correct. A must be nut due to his unreasonable faith in Hudson Bay region. Now B, second. European man. Okay, European man. How many are saying B? Okay. Thought that city must have been constructed by architects. There are many other options also. Please read. Any other than B? G. Has reasonable faith even without direct perception. Yes, G is also correct. And any other? Did not see. Yes. No. For the first option, I is not correct. For wild-eyed man, only A will be correct. And for European man, I will be correct. Because for wild-eyed man, he don't have reasonable faith. He don't have faith. And a wild-eyed man is thinking it came from explosions, right? Now third, Aborigine man.
D.
Okay, D. Thought that city must have existed like mountain. Yes, perfect. D. And any other? E. Has blind faith due to his near conclusion. No. Okay.
C.
I think only D will be there. C. Compared to no. Aboriginal compared to
Cells in human body.
huh?
Cells in human body.
Which one?
Four option for C.
Okay. Fourth. Okay. Fourth is C. Okay. Yes. Cells in human body compared to New York City. Fifth, Dharma. How many of say F? Okay, nice. So, inquiries on God, purpose of creation, and how to stop suffering. This is the dharma. Dharma means to understand what is the cause of suffering, who has created this world, what is the purpose of creation, right? So, all of you can clap for yourself. Very nicely, you have done the thing. You can clap for yourself and others also. So, we will do the next activity. So, I hope you understood, everyone. Can someone say in one line what is the theory of Aboriginal man and why it is unreasonable? Very partially, 1%. What was Aboriginal man thinking and why it was unreasonable? What was Aboriginal man saying? Yes.
Existed like mountains.
Yes, the buildings are just like mountains. They have been existing for millions of years, and he don't know about who created it. He was imagining that. So that is unreasonable faith. And the European man was saying, someone must have created this building. Although I can't see, but I know based on experience and based on so many authorization and recommendation. Now we will enter into MSc, Matter, Spirit, and Controller of Both. So as I was saying that doctors, they are finding out where this pain is residing. The pain is residing. The soul is feeling the pain. Although there are so many secretions of chemicals, but this body is constituted of so many chemicals. Actually, doctors exactly know how much chemical these chemicals, this amount you put together in the human body can come. But even if you take all those chemicals and put together, the body cannot function. The body cannot function, right? So that goes to show that actually we are not these chemicals. We are not these chemicals. Actually, the soul is different from the chemicals. That exactly shows that. Okay. So we'll move forward. And also there is another thing that life comes from life, not for chemicals. If you see, if someone is to give birth, we don't see, cars giving birth. One car is giving birth to another car. But we see, a human is giving birth to another human, a cat is giving birth to another cat, a dog is giving birth to another dog, right? So life comes from life. Have you seen the table giving birth to another table or table giving birth to a human? No. Life comes from life and chemicals also comes from life. Right? So that is the conclusion that we can make. And now if you see gulab jamun, now scientists may say, this gulab jamun is, it's very very soft, it has juice inside it, it's smelling. No, scientists can smell it. They can, judge by, external experience. But can they feel the pleasure of eating gulab jamun just by all these logics? What they have to do to get the pleasure? Eat it. When they eat it, when the gulab jamun touches a living person, then only they can feel the pleasure. So the pleasure and the pain can be felt by a living person, right? So that goes to show that there is matter and there is spirit. There is dead matter, just like this laptop, this table, this chair, these buildings. But to operate them, to manipulate them, to work upon them, there is a soul, there is a living person required. Without that living person, these things can't work, right? To run this projector or to do anything. In this universe, a place for collision of dead atoms and molecules with no higher meaning. Are you mother, father, and friends? Are our mother, father, and friends whom we love nothing more than a chemical bundle? Yes, are our mother, father, and friends whom we love nothing are nothing more than a chemical bundle? No. If they are just chemicals, how can you feel so much love? The love is felt by the soul. In exchange of love, nothing more than some secretion of chemicals in our body. So we have already done this love jamun. You will get this after some time, maybe today if you are lucky. Similarly, love, joy, integrity, honesty, humility, shyness, courage, tolerance, enthusiasm, patience, etc., and many more similar qualities are exhibited by living bodies due to the presence of Atma or spirit encased in the material body. Now, if there is a dead body, even if you cut the dead body, he will not cry, right? He will not feel pain. But if the spirit soul is inside, he will feel pain. Like today morning we were bathing, right? Bathing time, so much pain we feel. Like if we bathing, early morning in the cold, right? But how am I feeling? If there is a dead body, will he feel the pain? No. So that goes to show that there is a spirit soul inside the body. Thus, material body is made up of matter and Atma is spirit. And both matter and spirit are controlled by whom? Who is the supreme spirit. Now there are two ways to see this world. There is non-mechanistic way and there is mechanistic way. Mechanistic way means just see the externals, don't see the internal. But non-mechanistic way means to see the person behind. Behind the projector you are seeing a person who is operating. Just like I am operating this laptop. So there is a living person behind this projector. Similarly, someone says, Are sir, you are talking so much about there is a person, but we see there are remote cars which run automatically, right? How many of you see they run automatically or there is some person behind them? There is a person behind them also. They are remote. They are located, the person is sitting somewhere else and he is operating that cars, right? So, similarly, this sun is moving, sun is such a big entity and it is moving so fast, and this sun, is moving so fast, and who is the person who is, controlling that sun? It said in Brahma Samhita, Yasya Agaya, by the Agya. Agya means by the permission. By the permission of the Supreme Lord, the sun is moving in its orbit. We see the planets are moving, but it said now science is, believing that, the sun is also moving. The whole solar system is also rotating. Right? So the sun is also moving. So that is also moving by Yasya Agaya. It is moving by the permission of the Supreme Lord. To just run a small satellite, you need so many scientists sitting. Now to move a sun, how much intelligence is required? Okay. So there are three things. There is matter, there is spirit, and there is controller of both. There is Jagat, Jeev, and there is Jagdishwar. Who is the controller of both matter and spirit? Now we see that there are lights and fans here. If you click the button, if you switch off the button, switch on the button, the fan or light, whatever you press, it will ujal jayega, right? In what case the fan will not ऑन, अगर आप बटन दबाएंगे फैन ऑन नहीं हो रहा है, किस केस में ऐसा कब हो सकता है?
Electricity is not short circuit.
If the power supply
It's not off.
is power supply, it is not coming from the back, right? Similarly, actually, we see, some cricketer, some cricketer, he got some fracture, he got some fracture in his leg, and tomorrow is his match. Tomorrow is India Pakistan match. What he will do? Can he, एक दिन में fracture ठीक कर लेगा? If he would have been the controller, वो कर लेता. But because he is not the controller is someone else. Who is the controller? Who has that powerhouse? If he gives permission, then only it's possible. Otherwise, it's not possible. Similarly, someone getting old. Someone is getting old. His body parts are paining and everything. Can he reduce the pain? Can he remove the old age? No. There is someone, other person who is the controller, who is controlling that body, who is controlling that all these things, right? Behind, without his permission, you cannot set things right. So this goes to show that above the soul, above all of us, there is a supreme soul, and above Atma there is Jad, this table chair, they are called Jad, and we are called Chetan, and above Jad and Chetan there is Jad and Atma, there is Paramatma, and that Paramatma is the supreme controller, right? It's called the matter, spirit, and controller. So this controller is the person who is controlling everything. Now if you are going to cook in a kitchen, and you may have vegetables, you may have ingredients, you may have gas, you may have water, everything, and you may have everything available. Can you cook? Yes. How many of you think you can cook if you have everything available? Yes, you can cook, but if it is permitted by whom? Supreme Lord. If it is not permitted, तो क्या होगा? या तो आपका हाथ में कुछ लग जाएगा, और some problem में कम gas खत्म हो गया, something may happen, it will not happen. So there is Dev. Shastra talks about Dev. Dev means the person who is sitting above and who is the supreme controller. Everything is working under his control. Now we will see from the scriptures. A computer can tell you about the exact color composition in a painting, but it can't tell you if the painting is beautiful or not. Please pay attention. Aesthetics, like subjective conscious experience, is beyond the reach of science. आप टीवी में कुछ देख रहे हैं, है ना? कंप्यूटर देख के बता सकता है, अरे ये हो रहा है, बट उसको नहीं लगेगा अरे ये अच्छा है, बुरा है, वो हंसेगा नहीं. क्या है लैपटॉप? अगर इस लैपटॉप में कोई फनी मूवी चला दो, ये लैपटॉप हंस के गिर जाएगा कैसे? No. You may fall from your place, but this laptop will stay at its place, right? It will not fall down. It is dead matter, right? Now, Thomas Huxley said that there is a third thing in the universe, to wit, consciousness, which I can't see to be matter or force. He is saying that there is some third thing, supreme thing, which is above, this matter or spirit. So even scientists believe that there is some supreme person, who is the supreme controller, right? We have already done this. Okay, now we'll see. In a similar manner, we are tiny controllers and God is the supreme controller of everyone and everything. Thus, the true master of science, MSc, is one who knows matter, spirit, and controller of both. Not one who knows only matter alone. So there are some people who just think that we are dead matter, or just, we are spirit souls, but they don't know that there is a supreme being, supreme controller. But one who knows that there is a supreme controller above all of us, those persons are peaceful, right? If some natural calamity came, if someone knows there is a supreme controller, he knows, okay, these people must have done something bad, so some natural calamity came, so he's peaceful. Nahi to other person will think, why this is happening? He will be curious and he will be bewildered. He will not have any, explanation. But if we understand there is a supreme controller, we have, logic and reason for everything, right? And it is true also, right? And also we are custodian, but we are not owners. Like if you take a rented house, how many of you understand what is the difference between a custodian and an owner? Who is a custodian and who is the owner? Custodian means what we say rented person. What is the difference? क्या difference होता है? Yes. What is the difference? Custodian means a person who is living in a rented house. What is the difference between a person who is living in a rented house and a owner of the house?
He has to pay the rent of the house.
Yes.
He has to pay the rent.
Yes, they have to pay the rent, and they can't, do anything and everything. They have some rules and regulations,
Freedom नहीं है.
They don't have freedom. But the owner, that property is under his control. If he want, he can destroy it also. But the custodian cannot do that, right? So similarly, we all are custodians, but we are not the owners. This body has been given by God to us for a certain time period, at birth till death. But after that, it is not under our control, right? So we are custodians, we are not the owners, right? But the modern man thinks he is in control. Some airplane, sometime, some person came to Srila Prabhupada, he told, just see Srila Prabhupada, this scientist have created such big aeroplane. It is running so wonderfully in Asman, in the eye, in the sky, right? And then what happened? Srila Prabhupada said, oh, when the petrol will be over, it will come down. But the creation of God is so wonderful that Jupiter, Saturn, Earth, these planets, who is going to give petrol there? आप लोग कोई है, some friend relative who is going to Saturn or Jupiter, putting petrol in there? No. Such wonderfully they are created, that God has put such, just like, put a small, आप लोगों ने कार देखा बचपन में जिसमें वो, चाबी घुमाते थे, right? क्या बोलते हैं उसको? टॉय कार और चाबी कार, whatever, टॉय कार, उसमें चाबी घुमाइए और कार चलता जाएगा, और चाबी जब खत्म होगा फिर से लगा. Similarly, actually, the God has created such nice, Saturn, and He has created the macro things and the micro things. He has created mosquito, which is a very small aeroplane. Can any scientist you can find out who can create such mosquito? Very small aeroplane, which is, you can't be bhi karega, he is going like that. No. If you search on Google, there is a word, you can note this also, cosmic eye. And if you search on Google cosmic eye, you will find that God has created the biggest macro things so wonderfully and the very, very small micro things. So He is the supreme controller, supreme creator. And He has created all these things. And the material nature is a servant of God. In Bhagavad Gita 9.10, Lord Krishna says, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. The material nature works under my supervision. In a home, when a man, when in your home, some guest comes, your father is sitting with the guest. The father, shows an eyebrow. ऐसे eyebrow ऊपर करके, he shows to the mother. Mother understands. अरे चलो चाय पकौड़ा सब बनाना है, guest आ गए. Similarly, God is like our father, and the material nature, Durga, she is, like that mother, and the God shows the eye, and the Durga creates everything in this whole world. Maya Adhyakshen, in my Adhyakshata, मेरी अध्यक्षता में प्रकृति, the material nature do everything. लोग बोलते हैं अरे प्रकृति सब कर रही है, but they don't know who is giving order to that prakriti. Just like this hand, the sun rays is coming, below that there is shadow. If I move the hand, shadow will also. If I move the hand, shadow will move. Yes. If I move the hand, shadow will move.
Yes.
The prakriti works like this. Prakriti is like shadow, and God is like that hand. The God moves his hand, and the shadow moves. So that is, how everything happens. Similarly, Maya Devi, on the order of Lord Shri Krishna, produces grains, fruits, cereals, spices, medicinal herbs, water, etc., and supplies to all jivas who are Lord Krishna's children. Therefore, Lord Krishna is the supreme controller of both matter and spirit. Now, again, quiz time. So please be active. अभी देखते हैं कौन सबसे पहले बताएगा, है ना? Let us see. So Thomas Huxley's statement. Yes, A, B, C, D. Please fast. How many of you say B? D. Some are saying D, some are saying B. Yes? Okay, A is correct. Proves the presence of soul, unknown material entity in this universe. Yes. Now B is also correct. Proves that the third thing in the universe is spirit, which has arisen from matter. Right? And C proves that matter and force give rise to consciousness. No. Proves that there is a third thing in the universe, spirit, beyond matter and force. That also seems to be correct. Yes, that is okay. Beyond matter and force. Yes. Next. Find the odd one out. A camera can click the picture of a beauty queen or a poor beggar, but not comment about her beauty or feel compassion in heart for the beggar, like a boy can do. Similarly, a camera sees a some woman and he can see her beauty, and if the camera sees a beggar, he will feel compassion there also.
A and B.
Please read all of them.
B.
Okay, B is correct. A is also correct. All four are correct. A, B, C, D, all four are correct.
Yes.
A machine can estimate the sound in decibels, but not tell you about the swiftness of a raga.
All correct.
एक machine, he can tell it is 20 decibel, 30 decibel. It cannot tell, अरे बहुत अच्छा गा रहा है, He cannot, he will hear Lata Mangeshkar, he will see, it is some sound vibration. He cannot, jump in air and feel ecstasy and dancing in, kirtan, Secondly, a scientist can describe shape, size, quantity of sugar, etc. about a gulab jamun. A scientist will use a scientific machine to do these things, but can only know how sweet and pleasurable it is, personally tasting it, not by mechanical measurement. It is also correct. A device can measure the temperature of a AC, but it cannot tell कि AC में सोने का क्या मजा है. नहीं बता सकता, right? So a video camera can shoot a movie, and just I was telling, he cannot laugh and fall down from the. Okay, who is a true MSc, Master of Science?
Who knows matters it goes.
Yes, fastly, very easy.
B. C. 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 C.
Okay, it's B. B is correct. One who knows matter and spirit. Both, not just matter alone. No, this is not
C.
correct.
Controller of both.
Yes, C. One who knows matter, spirit, and controller of both, not just matter alone, right? Give an example how we are tiny controller and God is supreme controller. Very easy. Very easy.
A.
Okay. A. How many of you say A? Very few. Others, what others say? A says you can turn light bulb on or off, but when there is power cut by electricity board, you have no control. Yes, this is correct. A and D both are correct. You can turn light bulb on or off as long as there is power supply.
A and D.
Thus, Jiva can be considered minute controller, and while God is the supreme controller. So you all can clap for yourself and others. You are doing very fast. So we have very less time. We will move fast. Scientists do not know that there are two types of energy, inferior and superior. So, what is inferior and what is superior? The matter, Jad, it is called inferior, and the Chetan spirit, it is called superior. Now, why the soul is considered superior to matter? Why you all are considered superior to that table? Why? Anyone can answer? Why you all are superior to this chair or to this table? Yes? We can control this chair and table. But these chairs and tables, can they control you? No. So you are superior. You are superior. Right? So Atma can control matter, just like TV, mic, AC, we can control them, right? Okay? So this, just like our body is a small machine, which is being controlled by us. Similarly, this whole cosmic machine, this whole world, this is also a machine which is being controlled by the supreme controller, right? Which is being controlled by the supreme controller, who is controlling it, maintaining it, and providing everything in it, right? That is the supreme controller. Now, who is more important? Now, some one of your friend got an accident. He got an accident, and you came to know that. You went there. आप क्या पूछेंगे जाके? अरे कितने लाख का गाड़ी था, क्या हुआ? कितना नुकसान हुआ? Will you ask that? What will you ask? What will happen to your? आपके दोस्त को क्या? You will go and ask, अरे what happened to you? क्या हुआ? कितना चोट लगा? क्या हुआ? Right? You will not ask about the car, right? Although that car will 20, 30, 50 lakh rupees, no? You will ask about the friend, right? Similarly, this whole cosmic machine is being, who is the controller? Who is the operator of this cosmic machine? The Supreme Lord, God. Now, just like in the car accident, your friend is more important than the car. Similarly, in the cosmic machine, who is more important? The cosmic machine or God? God. The God is more important than this cosmic machine. Because without God, this cosmic machine is not there, right? God is the one who has created this cosmic machine, who is maintaining it, who is providing everything. From your clothes, from your, eatables and your study, everything is provided by God. So, God is more important than your, this cosmic machine. Now, Bhagavad Gita says that Krishna is that supreme God. People are amazed at seeing a big machine with many, many parts, but an intelligent person knows that however wonderful a machine may be, it does not work unless an operator comes and pushes the proper button. If there is a machine, without pushing the button, can it run? Your computer can run a code for, hours and hours. You have written a very nice code, Many of you may be from computer science, It may run very nice code. But for that, someone has to write that code. And for that to operate, someone has to push a button to switch that machine on, right? So God is the supreme person who is putting that, chabi in this cosmic machine. Chabi laga diya, all planets are, pat, going, right? All planets, all earth, they are going. He is the supreme person. Now we may say, well, how do I know that he is a controller? Krishna says, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sam characharam. Under my direction, the whole cosmic manifestation is working. If you say, no, Krishna is not the operator behind the cosmos, you may say, no. Krishna is not the person who is, behind this cosmos. Then you have to accept another operator. Can you tell some other operator? No, you don't have any operator. And if you don't have any other operator, then you must accept Krishna, right? If you don't know any other operator, then you must accept Krishna. Krishna is the operator who is saying, who is claiming that, aham sarva प्रभवो मत्ता सर्वं प्रवर्तते इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां मुदा भाव समन्विता. Krishna is clearly telling, I am the person who is creating everything, who is maintaining everything, and I am like a thread behind this, what we say, garland, Although I am not visible, but if you remove me, everything will be collapsed, right? So Krishna is that person, right? Now let us do the activity. Which energy cannot work independently? Firstly, yes, please pay attention. Hare Krishna. Firstly, बताइए. How many of you say A and B? A and B. Raise hand. How many of you say A and B? A and B are correct because spiritual work energy can work independently, right? Inferior energy and material energy cannot work independently, right? This chair, this cannot work independently, but you can work independently. You can go somewhere, but you are also not completely independent. The completely independent person is one. Who is that? God. God is completely independent, right? This cosmic manifestation cannot work on its own as much as, yes? How many of you say A? Yes? ABD. Who said ABD? You said. क्या नाम है आपका? Okay, clap for Gaurav. Gaurav said very nicely ABD. A machine does not work unless an operator pushes a button. A car cannot move without a driver. An aeroplane cannot fly without a pilot. A Cadillac is a nice car and runs at high speed. This doesn't matches with the plane. Out of the two, who is more important, machine or the operator? Now, answer from A, B, C, D. Operator is important, yes.
B.
How many of you say B? Okay, B. Let us see B. Operator is more important because how can the machine run without operator operating it? That is correct. C. Both are equally important as both are essential for the functioning of a machine. No, this is not correct because both are not equally important. Both are important, but operator is most important. If both would have been equally important, then you will take your friend and the car both to the hospital. जब एक्सीडेंट होगा तो क्या होगा? गाड़ी को लेके जाएंगे और फ्रेंड को, बट आप किसको लेके जाते हैं पहले? You don't take the car, right? You take, but after some time, you wait, है ना? 2-3 दिन बाद चलेगा. Okay. ऐसा नहीं है फ्रेंड को छोड़ो गाड़ी को लेके चलो. Okay, please pay attention. We'll just take 15 minutes more. What do we infer when we apply this machine operator analogy to the universe? Yes, fastly. How many of you say A? Okay. Universe is a cosmic machine and Lord Krishna is its operator. Yes, A. So we'll move to last part of our session. Just 10 minutes more. I know you are waiting for feast. Okay. So the remote cause, immediate cause and ultimate cause. Just 5-10 minutes more. Please pay attention. This is most important. This part is the most important part of the whole session. Okay? Now, if you see a train, how many of you have sitting in train? ट्रेन में कितने लोग बैठे हैं? अरे आप लोग ट्रेन में नहीं बैठे? ओके. Now, Hare Krishna, please pay attention. Be silent. Keep silent. Now, the bogie you are sitting in, that is the bogie which is taking your head. It is called immediate cause. And there are 6-7 bogies ahead. There is another bogie which is also pulling this bogie. It is called remote cause. And there is at the ahead of the train. What is there? Who said engine? Yes, perfect. What is your name? Ajit ke liye taali ho. So there is engine, right? And engine is pulling the whole train, right? So engine is called ultimate cause. So there are 3 causes. There is immediate cause, there is remote cause, and there is ultimate cause. Please repeat after me. There is immediate cause. Repeat. There is remote cause. There is ultimate cause. Yes. So these 3 causes are there. Srila Prabhupada. Inferior energy has no power unless superior energy is involved. Okay, so I will explain this later. Now, if you see cow, and someone asked a child, where are you getting milk from? Do you know what the child said? Child said, I am getting milk from? Child said, I am getting milk from Spencer's. So nowadays, people are becoming so ignorant, they don't know, where the milk is coming from. The milk is coming from cow. And how the cow is getting milk from? Grass. And the grass is coming from the nature, like sun rays, give, seed and sun rays, right? And the sun is working under whom? Supreme Lord, I already told. Yes, se aage hai. It is working under Supreme Lord. So now, for the milk, who is the immediate cause? Cow. Perfect. Who is the remote cause? Yes, sun and grass. All these are remote causes. But who is the ultimate cause for the milk? Yes, the Supreme Lord is the ultimate cause for the milk, right? From ultimately Supreme Lord, the milk is coming, right? So that is intelligence to understand, not just see the immediate thing, but to see the last person who is who is controlling everything, the chain, who is controlling the whole chain, right? Now the sun is called, Ashesha Teja. He is called the leader of all the planets. The sun is called leader of all the planets. And just like put Sputnik in satellite in the universe, similarly God has put the sun. And the sun, I already told you, is moving at a very high speed. So that is being put by Supreme Lord. Now Srila Prabhupada said to some person, you are a thief. What you are? You are a thief because you are using these, mud, these stones, these bricks, to make a building. That person said, Swamiji, how can I be a thief? मैं कैसे चोर हूँ? मैं तो चोर नहीं हूँ. All these things belongs to me. Srila Prabhupada said, did you create them? He said, no. Then you are a thief. Because you did not create them. How can you be, claiming it? How can you say that, I am the owner, right? It don't belong to me. It is given by the Supreme Lord, the Mother Nature, to you. How can you say that it belongs to me? Similarly, everything what we have is being given by Supreme God, and if we use it, if we say that it belongs to me, it is a thief's mentality, right? We are not the owners, we are just custodians, we are just custodians, okay? But the devotees, like all of you, the devotees who are chanting Hare Krishna, who knows that God is the supreme controller, they are not thieves because they know that this whole property belongs to God. Okay? Now, God is the great person, who has created, the whole universe and all these things. Now, scientists say that water is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen. But when they see a vast ocean, they are puzzled about where such a quantity of hydrogen and oxygen could have come from. They think that everything evolved from chemicals, but where did the chemicals come from? This is the question. अभी आपको थोड़ा सा पानी बनाना, you have some hydrogen, oxygen. But to create an ocean, how much hydrogen, how much oxygen will be required? So question is, where did that hydrogen and oxygen is coming from? That they do not know. Since the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the cause of all causes, he can produce immense quantities of chemicals. Supreme Lord is such a great person, such a supreme person. He has that such power. He can provide unlimited amount of hydrogen and oxygen that the whole ocean can manifest. That is his power. We pass sweat. अगर हम लोग हमारे शरीर से पसीना आता है, some small bowl may also not fill up. But if you read Vedas, when the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu, when he passes sweat from his body, a big ocean, the whole universe gets filled half with the sweat of the Mahavishnu. That is his power. So we are tiny. We are Anu. Shastra says we are Anu, and he is Vibhu. Please repeat after me. We are Anu, and he is. We create swimming pools. Please repeat. We create. He create oceans. We create this light bulb. Repeat. And he creates sun. That is his great. And not just sun, he creates moon also. There is a very shining light, and there is at night there is dim light. Okay, so he is the supreme person. Right? Now we also see that the God is the origin of all the species. How many of you know who knows that how many species are there total? Who said? What is your name? So clap for Abhishek. Abhishek said there are 8.4 million, 84 lakh, 83 lakh, 84 lakh species. And you know that the cow, desi cow, it has 120 species. And the 90 species are now extinct. Only 30 species are there. Now, if you ask a scientist or engineer or someone, can you bring that 90 species back? Can you bring back? He can't bring back. The supreme controller is God, and these species are being created by Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord says, Aham Bija Pradapita. So when the Supreme Lord will be saying, when the Supreme Lord, he wills, then he is the seed of all these species, He is the seed, from whom all these species are coming, right? So let us read this. We should see that the chemicals are produced from living entities. For example, a lemon tree produces many tons of citric acid. The citric acid is not the cause of the tree. Rather, the tree is the cause of the acid. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of everything. He is the cause of the tree that produces the citric acid. Bijam mam sarva bhutana. Now you can repeat after me. Sarvayoneshu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyone aham bija pradapita. Once again. Sarvayoneshu kaunteya loudly. Murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyone aham bija pradapita. So the Lord says aham bija pradapita. All species of life are made possible by birth in this material nature. O son of Kunti Arjuna, and I am the seed giving father. For example, if we sow a banyan seed, a huge tree eventually comes up, and along with it millions of new seeds. Each of these seeds can in turn produce another tree with millions of new seeds, and so on. This is how Krishna, the original seed-giving father, is the primary cause of everything we see. Very easy to understand. If you put a seed, millions of, a tree comes which has millions of more seeds. Such is the creation of God, Krishna. Okay, we have already discussed this. Okay, just we will read this and then we take questions. Unfortunately, the scientists observe only the immediate cause. They cannot perceive the remote cause. Krishna is described in the Vedas as Sarva Karana Karanam. Repeat after me. Sarva Karana. Repeat again. Sarva Karana. The cause of all causes. If one understands the cause of all causes, then he understands everything. Yasmin vigyate sarvam ekam vigyatam bhavati. If one knows the original cause, the subordinate causes are automatically known. Although the scientists are searching after the original cause, when the Vedas, perfect knowledge, declare the original cause to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the scientists won't accept it. They keep to their partial and perfect knowledge. That is their disease. So what scientists do? The Vedas tell, they are finding out. Actually, scientists don't find out also. They are just concerned with enjoying their senses and making inventions so that they can be comfortable. But they don't inquire about God. But when Vedas say I am telling you, you are not able to find out. Okay, I am telling you, that God is the Supreme Person. They don't accept it. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that is their disease. They don't know and they don't accept Vedas also. And the Vedas are being accepted by the greatest of people. The Vedas are being accepted by Ramanujacharya, Chanakya Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shankaracharya, all accept Vedas. But the scientists say we will not accept. So they think we are very intelligent. And Srila Prabhupada is saying that is their disease. Okay, please answer. Thank you. So you can answer these questions fastly, just 1 minute. An example for immediate, remote and ultimate causes? Fastly. How many of you say A? Yes, A is correct. A train bogie being pulled by another bogie, farther bogie and ultimate injury. Okay, B. Second question. What do scientists study in their research laboratories? What is your name? Okay, please clap for Pratik. Pratik said B. B is correct. Immediate and remote cause. Scientists don't study about the ultimate cause. An example to prove that scientists fail to search for the ultimate cause is okay, C is correct. Seeing the entire cosmic manifestation to be functioning nicely without ultimate cause. And B is also correct. Seeing chemicals as a source of vast quantities of hydrogen. Okay, fourth. What is the source of chemicals found in the universe? Okay, what is your name? Okay, clap for Abhinav. Abhinav said D and C. D and C is correct. D is Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate cause that produces chemicals, and C, everything is manifested by the energy of the Supreme. What is the disease of atheistic scientist? Let us see who will answer this. What is the disease of the atheistic scientist? Two answers are correct. Two. Who is saying A and C? Okay, you can all clap for yourself. Okay, so we are concluded. Thank you. We'll just summarize. We'll just summarize. So we discussed about that the fate can be reasonable. We heard about the Aboriginal man, European man, and wild-eyed man. And also we understood, we discussed about immediate cause, remote cause, and ultimate cause. And in this way we understand that the supreme controller is the God, and the matter and spirit are under the supreme Lord. And if we understand the root cause, we can find out the root cause of sufferings and we can be happy. अगर आपके कमरे में बहुत गंदा स्मेल आ रहा, some friend came, वो ढूंढ रहे क्यों आ रहा, और देखा अरे उसने क्लीन कर दिया या ऑर्डर नहीं लगा दिया, फ्रेंड स्मेल चला जाएगा, कुछ देर के लिए जाएगा फिर, बट अगर उसे पता लगे अरे एक चूहा मरा हुआ है, उस चूहे को बाहर फेंकेगा तो स्मेल परमानेंटली चलेगा. So we have to find the root. So the root of everything that we are seeing in this world is God. And if you connect with God by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, you can be really happy. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, any questions? Okay, thank you. I again thank all of you for coming for this session and sitting. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so I thank for a wonderful session. I think you enjoyed it. You were not attending, I was observing you. So we are taking our time from our working life and coming and giving you something valuable knowledge. So please be attentive. Okay.